Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Gyan Murtim Bandhvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasishtha Nirvana Prakarana Purvardha, section 33 continues. This practice of vichar for negating multiplicity of illusion. And Lord Shiva is giving this, imparting this wisdom to sage Vasishtha. That's the storyline. Having been born, the jiva becomes identified with its physical body. Having been born, this allegorical description, Brahman alone is, the question of being born doesn't arise. But we are dealing with a state of bondage. And our problem is how to attain liberation. From bondage to release, we are in a world of illusion, in a world of a dream. But our mind has to turn to our essential nature. Even in dream, the whisper has to enter your mind that this is a dream. So don't get caught up with whatever you are experiencing. So that, put it another way, sun having reflected in a jar of water. Now the reflected sun is like the jiva that is identified with the jar. In this apparently long process of repeated birth and death, the jiva is always backed up by the impressions of its past karmas. Now, with body identity, you are now following the law of karma. And led by your karma, you move from one part to another. That's karma-based changes that occur in the soul. That type of changes should not be your goal, because there is no end to that. You can be placed in countless situations of prosperity. Of course, nobody wants adversity. But even your prosperities are not going to last long. And naturally, if you want a prosperity, you have to face challenging situations in the form of adversities. But whether prosperity or adversity, both are in the realm of a dream-like illusion. Subtle impressions, vasanas, continue to determine its present condition. So the story now begins on the basis of your body identity as a jiva. And jiva's movement is determined by vasana. Vasana is subtle impressions of the unconscious. The root of the vasanas are samskaras, impressions. Impressions are like seeds. Vasanas are like sprouts. Impressions stay in your unconscious, and you don't know all about your impressions. Vasanas, out of countless impressions known as sanchita karma, accumulated storehouse, a little portion becomes active and creates vasanas. That karma, that group of seeds that create your present personality, called sanchita karma. From another angle, the entire storehouse of the unconscious karma in that state is sanchita. And only a portion from that karma, sanchita, a portion becomes your prarabdha. And as prarabdha, it operates through your vasanas. And vasana is two types, Shubha vasana, Ashubha vasana. Shubha vasana will bring out the role of good karmas and will create good karmas. Ashubha vasanas are negative. The impressions of duality which have been generated on the basis of the erroneous notion, I am the body, are removed by the affirmation of I am the Absolute. The disease and its remedy has been given here in a very quick statement. The disease, erroneous notion, I am the body. Cure, Aham Brahmasmi. From I am the body to Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. I am the body, you are sick, not swastha. You are gripped by bhava vyadhi, disease of the world process. In a state of being cured, you are Aham Brahmasmi. So Aham Brahmasmi is the remedy, but that remedy cannot be adopted like a pill. You have to prepare for it. Now begins the whole story of the role of integral yoga in your life, culminating in a state of purified intellect. That purified intellect first grasps this great knowledge, or Aham Brahmasmi, intellectually, called Paroksha Jnana. And while doing that, opens the door to intuitional revelation. That's the difference between theory and practice. But all your theory doesn't come into practice at once. It is a progressive movement. Section 34. Transcending the three states of consciousness. All these points have been taught before, but they will be taught again and again. That's called Gada Parinyaya. Lord Shiva continued, O sage, in adopting the vision of negation, this world is found to be non-existent. By adopting the vision of the projection of names and forms, this world is sustained by Brahman. So, two ways we are turning our attention to Brahman. One way to understand the experiences of the world are projections of your chitta, chitta vritti. And therefore, projections do not hurt the screen. It is the screen that is showing its nature, its essential nature. But its essential nature of this screen is hidden because the vrittis of your thought waves create their own drama. In other words, when you're watching a cinema show, you are seeing wonderful actor doing various joyful activities. But actually what you are seeing the screen. It's the screen that is becoming, led by projection, becoming the nose of the actor, the head of the actor. He becoming the car of the actor. And whatever story goes on, pleasant, painful, high, low, all are projections. But projections will have no reality if there is no screen behind. Now turn your attention to move away from the projections. And even while projections are there, realize screen alone is real. Brahman alone is real. So that's the type of vichar has to enter your mind. And that enables the sage to have double consciousness, like Ganeshas, implying while living in the world, the sage becomes a source of inspiration for all others, giving upliftment. And as I have explained to you before, Vasantavat, his presence becomes like the spirit of spring. But you don't spring into spring level. That also is progressive. But the teaching is not only be good, but try to share your goodness with others. And that is a great art. And that is dictated by your own heart. When you are very happy, inspired, automatically you feel more inspired when you share it and enable people to live with less problems and giving them comfort and subtle inspiration to face their challenges. Any act of little goodness done to others becomes a joyous movement, like a spring season that begins to inspire even the smallest of buds to blossom. So that aspect of the role of sage in the world, that's on one side, one aspect of consciousness. The other, Brahman alone is. And there is no contradiction between the two. It is pure consciousness which enters into the world process through the deluded notion, I am this body. The whole problem at its root is not recognizing your own essential nature, loss of identity, and yet constantly dealing with I am. But this I am you have is based on body identity, not real I am. When you are in deep sleep, body is not being felt by you, still you are. So body-based identity is not your total I am. Allow your mind to understand how what gives joy to the mind? And the mind will say, if I get things that I love now, and what is the best, the greatest source of love? I am. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. For the sake of the self, all becomes dear. But then you have to now make a distinction. This I am, which is the source of all love, where is it? And see a difference between ego and I am. Your ego goes in turmoil, in waking state identified with physical body, in dream state identified more with the subtle body, in sleep goes beyond in unconscious level. That I am is untouched by the three states of consciousness, waking, dream, deep sleep. That I am is what you really love. When it discovers its identity with its pure nature, it becomes free from the world process. By the force of his own power, Brahman, who is the very embodiment of peace, the positive qualities of Brahman, they become very important for affirmation. Even though you don't fully understand the real I am, yet introduced to your mind in a calm stage, I am peace. What type of peace? Peace that doesn't break into pieces. Peace where triad doesn't exist. You are dreaming, there is a triad, seer, seen, and sight. Waking, that triad vanishes. Where three tapas do not exist, subjective troubles called adhyatmic tap, objective troubles come from outer source, from people, from animals, from birds, or whatsoever that. Adhibhautik tapa. And then troubles coming from act of will, divine will, like hurricanes, great wars, and these days we have those viruses. Absolute freedom from all the three type of troubles, tapas, that's called peace. So, in the world of lots of gossips going on for so many things, sit back a little and bring the biggest the gossip and sip it. Aham Brahma. I am Brahman. You can actually sip something, but your mind should be tasting the joy of that vision. Aham Brahma. So, embodiment of peace, embodiments of fullness. Once you have attained that revelation, there is no more thirst for attaining anything in the world. Absolute quenching of the thirst created by worldly desires. And that's fullness. Param Tripti, supreme fulfillment. And perfection, Purnam. The definition of Purnam is same like infinity. drawn from infinity, take infinity away from infinity, still infinity remains. Multiply infinity by infinity, still there is nothing but infinity. Infinity minus infinity, my infinity. That's Purnam, that does not subject itself to any mathematical calculation. Remains ever the same. So nothing of the world touches that Brahman. The entire world becomes nothing. That's perfection. Purnam. And who is like the taintless sky. Another allegorical simile is Akash, Chidakash. Akash, whenever we term Akash, we always refer to three aspects of space. Bhutakash, physical space. How much you love to have physical space. But even though you have all the physical space, bought a wonderful house with good scenery and all that, but by the time you did, husband and wife start fighting. I'm joking. Now space has become limited. You have to hide in a corner. That type of space created by your own feelings and sentiments, that's called Chittakash, Bhutakash, Chittakash, that's created by your mental process. And then Chidakash. Chidakash is pure awareness. Pure awareness, like the screen. All projections are sustained by screen, and those projections are not real. All that you are experiencing are sustained by pure awareness. And that pure awareness is unaffected by all types of awareness that you go on experiencing day by day. It's a very simple way to understand. Clouds come in the sky day by day in new formations. Dark clouds, ugly clouds, dangerous clouds. And yet the sky remains ever the same. That should become your ideal in your sadhana. That I am, that Chidakash, absolute, towering eternity. It is this Brahman who enters into the threefold process of the world through Maya. Creation, sustenance and destruction. Srishti, Palan, Sanghar. Waking, dream, deep sleep. Subjective, objective and divine. All the threefold distinctions, they are illusory projection, like snake on the rope. The rope is Brahman. And all these three-aspected experiences are projections. O sage, when Brahman is realized, the mind, which is the basis of the functions of the senses, is withdrawn into the self. All the mind and its mental vrittis fade. And once the mind has come to utter cessation, manonash, vasanakshaya, tattva-jnana, three movements bring about complete end of the chitta. Manonash, just to reiterate certain point, manonash, dealing with your mind, of course, always, but highlighting serenity of your mind. What you hold in your mind is your Godward understanding, or understanding about who am I in a profound way. In brief, no matter how pleasant the news, it should not overwhelm your whole personality. What should overwhelm is the idea I am Brahman. And no matter whatever may be the tragedy, it should not completely drown you. So being calm and looking for promoting more and more serenity, that should be your goal. Not just drifting in the world of transience. One who is enlightened attains this state. And as the serenity is chosen as your key to evolution, it climaxes into liberation. Serenity becomes the gateway to liberation. In this state, the vision of a sage negates the reality of the world and perceives the self as the absolute reality. The state is also known as Pashyanti, which implies the unobstructed vision of the self. Now this stage is presented now in different stages. It follows the same teaching given through 7 steps of wisdom. When you come to Sattvapatti level, it's called Pashyanti. Now you have a clear vision of what your goal is. Which implies the unobstructed vision of the self. This state is characterized by the experience of incomparable bliss. Now the happiness that you enjoy is not a happiness that waxes and wanes, comes and goes. It is eternal, absolute bliss. I am Brahman. That is not going to be shaken. No wind can shake it. No robber can take it away from you. And that bliss is incomparable, because there nowhere need to compare. And all the feverish efforts of a life in bondage come to an end. Therefore, it is also called Mahasupta, or great sleep state. In 7 steps, it is described as Padartha Bhavana. So far, O Vasishtha, I have explained to you the first stage of enlightenment. Now listen to the second stage. The stages are progressive stages like Sattvapatti,  Padartha Bhavana, Turiya, Let me enumerate the whole thing. Shubhecha is the first step, aspiration. Second stage, vicharana, practice of reflection. Third stage, tanumanasi. Your mind is not so obese that doesn't allow you to have any happiness. Tanumanasi means impurities thin out. And then sattvapatti, a perfect security that you are following the right course and you cannot go backward. When backward movement becomes completely controlled and impossible to go back, then that state is called sattvapatti. And the sattvapatti leads you to asamsakti, detachment. You live in the world and do everything, but you are not touched. Don't create karmas. And that leads you to padartha bhavana, as if you are in deep sleep all the time. And that leads you to beyond sleep, turiya, the transcendental. And beyond that is called turiyatita. That's not really a step. It automatically, allegorically, they end up using the term turiyatita. Means now all those steps are completely out of sight. Brahman alone is. But as long as you have also the steps as well as the seventh, then it is Turiya stage you have gained, because you have gone through waking, dream, deep sleep, positive counterparts of these states. Now beyond that, nothing of this is brought to your attention. All the differences are completely out. Called turiyatita. You shouldn't get too confused with these terminology. Sometimes people get confused. Should I attain turiya or should I attain turiyatita? Should I attain sattvapatti? Why should I attain sattvapatti? When there is higher level, work for the advance. So that type of confusion should not be there. In this state, consciousness is freed from the limitations of time and space and is freed from all the concepts of finality. There is no mortality for that consciousness. It transcends the three states of waking, dream, and deep sleep. It is characterized by the fourth state known as Turiya, or the transcendental, wherein all affliction and misery cease. During this state, the energy of consciousness, implying Chaitanya Shakti, the power of consciousness, shines as the witness of all states. It is the illuminer of all and is of the nature of unexcellable bliss. Lord Shiva continues, now listen to the third stage of enlightenment. During this stage, the unobstructed intuitive flow of the mind and Brahman are one. There is no difference between the seeker and the sought. The mathematical number should not confuse, it doesn't mean much. Different third, fourth are different angles. One way of saying something, the first stage. Second way of saying, second stage. Same truth is being asserted again and again. This stage is devoid of all taints as well as of changes caused by time. This is the highest Purushartha, the ultimate goal. It is the best of all stages. It is characterized by supreme auspiciousness. Param Mangal. By abiding in this stage for a long time, yogi rises beyond all the mystic paths leading to subtle planes of enjoyment. You naturally rise beyond bhoga. And it is the bhoga, enjoyment aspect is termed in the form of heavenly worlds, countless astral planes, which do not bring about the termination. So all heavenly enjoyments and whatever enjoyment can conceive of, they don't compare with the bliss of Brahman. Therefore, Taittiriya Upanishad actually gives us grades of happiness. A person who is very healthy and young and ruler of the whole world, consider this one unit of happiness. 100 units is for a Gandharva. 100 times of that is for another grade of God, Devatas. 100 times of that is for Indra. 100 times of that is still a higher grade of God. All this is allegorical. Don't go after literally going to evaluate. The idea is all enjoyments in the world of karma are alpam, little. And when you are free of karma, now your enjoyment is absolute bliss. O sage, may you ascend the ladder of enlightenment, having discovered the self that is beyond the three states and beyond all the limitations of the world process. Abide in the self. The self alone is the imperishable Brahman, the imperishable God, who is to be worshipped through self-realization. What is the highest form of worship? And highest form of worship is being described. This self alone is imperishable Brahman, who is to be worshipped through self-realization. All that you do for attaining self-realization is the highest form of worship. And who is the highest God? Brahman. This God is the material cause of all that exists. He who knows the self becomes one with the self. In this state of realization, one becomes free of all mental concepts of existence and non-existence. Brahman is all this. Om is the symbol of Brahman. Lord Shiva now gives the mantra for leading the aspirant to liberation. That mantra is Om. And it is this mantra that is extended into Ishta mantras. All mantras are basically Om. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Shri Krishnaya Namaha. Om Aim Saraswatyai Namaha. Om is the highlight of all mantras. And Om Upasana becomes the highest involvement in your mantra japa. And it consists of A, U, and M, A, U, Ma. A represents the waking state. U represents the dream state. M is symbolic of deep sleep state. These three comprise the entire world process. And this has been explained to you several times, and we will continue to do that. When we talk of A, we are talking about allowing your understanding, first understanding that if you are body, then why not consider yourself, you are the whole universe of matter. You can't separate the body from the world. So, identified with body, you are called Vishwa. The reality behind Vishwa is Virat, cosmic body. But then, go higher, you aspect. All the physical experience is sustained by your mind. If you take the mind away, there is nothing that you can experience. So the reality of your body is subtle body. Om Ram 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 Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukuva Bandhana Mrityor Mukshiyama Mritat Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Nidhamaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukbhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.